Hey, Howard Jacobson here. In 2013, I was diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea. I've probably had it my whole life. My friend Rafi, who I met when I was 12 years old and bunked with at summer camp for a couple of years, said that when he later became a doctor, he realized retroactively that I'd had apnea since he first knew me, the noises that I would make at night. But in 2013, I was officially diagnosed and I was prescribed a CPAP, continuous positive air pressure machine, sits in the bed, plugs in, attach a tube to a mask on my face, and it blows air and keeps the airways open. I hated it. It was loud, it was uncomfortable, it kept my wife awake, and after like 3 or 4 months of fighting with it, and I would travel and carry it in a big case and first place I'd go when I got to another city was buy a gallon of distilled water to go in the humidifier, and chafing, it was awful. And I finally just stopped. And I knew that sleep apnea is kind of a bad thing. But over the years, I sort of let it go and forgot about it. And the truth is, I am tired a lot. In the afternoons, it's kind of hard for me to really focus on doing good work. So I try to front load all of my good work into the morning, all of my writing and speaking. I teach at night and I can often feel I'm a little brain foggy, not that sharp. I'm teaching a coach training course now, and we have 2 group sessions at 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. And I am so much better at 10 a.m. than 8 p.m. I can feel it. So a couple days ago, I was talking with my friends, the Shirzais, Dean and Aisha, who are brain health experts. And I'm helping them, we're collaborating on a brain health course. And we got to the section on restorative sleep. And I'm reading about the statistics for sleep apnea that I had known, that I had seen before, that I had studied, and over the course of the last 7 years just sort of forgotten about. And it was things like, you have a 70%, meaning me, 70% increased chance of getting dementia. You have an increased risk of heart disease, of diabetes, of an eating disorder. As I said, I am fatigued a lot. I already have the brain fog. My blood pressure is far higher than it should be for someone of my eating and exercise habits. My cholesterol is higher than it should be. And I'm doing everything else right. It's just the sleep. And so, having read that and talked to them, and I said, hey, I'm just wondering about the sleep apnea. And they both jumped on me instantly. Like, dude, today, even while we were texting and talking on the phone, Aisha sent me a link to the local university sleep center to get a test, to do a sleep study so that I could find out if it's worse, to find out if I need to have the settings changed on my machine. And they were really kind of scaring the hell out of me, on top of me scaring the hell out of myself. Now, as a coach, I almost never want to use negative motivation to get people to do something. Negative motivation, like I'm scared of this, I don't want this. It triggers fight or flight. And fight or flight is rarely useful for long-term habit change, right? Fight or flight is, I got to do something right now. When we're in fight or flight, we're much more likely to stress eat junk food. We're much more likely to not want to go for a walk or a run. We're much more likely to be impulsive, to do something to make us feel good in this moment, rather than do something that will serve us over time. So we want to really take it easy on using fear to motivate ourselves or to motivate anybody else. And yet, there are moments where fear is absolutely required and incredibly powerful. And that was a moment for me, reading about the effects of sleep apnea on my future, understanding how it's affecting me right now, and having 2 people whom I admire, respect, and adore both jump down my throat and tell me to do something, practically scolding me with love because they care about me. That got the ball rolling. I pulled out the old CPAP machine, cleaned things off, put on a new mask, put in a new tube, set it up in the living room so I wouldn't bother my wife, opened up the couch, and slept under the CPAP for the first time in years. And I talked to a doctor who's getting me a referral to the sleep center at UNC for the sleep study. So now I'm like re-energized to face this thing. The key is I took that fear and I immediately turned it into two other things. One of those things was action. Now, because I'm well connected and I'm educated on health, I knew what action to take. Sometimes if you're scared of something, suddenly you have this fear, fight or flight response, and you don't know what to do. The action is finding out what to do. The action might be reaching out to people, watching YouTube videos, going to PubMed and looking things up, finding a book, finding a documentary. But just doing something, taking action immediately reduces our lack of control, which reduces our fight or flight stress response. The second thing I did was that I immediately took the things that I was scared of and flipped them around so that I was now looking at their mirror images, which is things that I really want. Like, imagine me having the energy to work a full day, to really bring it in the afternoon, to teach as well at 8 p.m. as I teach at 10 a.m., to be able to be more productive, to write more books, to have more impact on the world that my children are going to inherit, to be healthy into old age. So not just fear of dementia, but becoming a sage. You know, the older the person is that I watch on YouTube or listen to, I was watching a Peter Levine video with my son. Peter Levine is, I guess he's in his 70s. He's one of the most amazing somatic therapists who helps people overcome trauma, PTSD through physical movement and awareness of body. And my son remarked, boy, I really trust old people, you know, because they have experience, they've been around. If that was a young person doing that, I might not be so impressed. And that was real wisdom from him. And it made me realize I want to become a wise old person. I don't want to squander all these years of stupidity, of struggle, of mistakes, of trial and error that are bringing me to a state of wisdom only to lose my mind precisely when it will be most useful for people. So I turned all those negatives into things that I want, into things that make me salivate for how deeply I long for them. So you can decide when you need a shot of fear, when you want to rub your nose in the potential negative outcomes and consequences of your current behavior, what one sales mentor of mine called the future cost of present inaction. But once you do it, once you get the jolt, immediately turn it into action and into a perspective on the positive. All right, have a great day.